Welcome to Bullshit TV. I'm your host. Um, what's on today's docket is the demise of Emmett Till's maker back in 1955. We want to talk about Caroline Bryant, aka Dunham. I don't know why they showing Dunham, but people are knowing her as Caroline Bryant. And if you haven't been living under a rock, you probably want to know who is Caroline Bryant, and you probably already know who she is. But for the people that don't know, Caroline Bryant was basically a white woman that was down in I want to say Mississippi, um, Louisiana. Excuse me. One day, Emmett Till, y'all probably heard of his story, but we never, if you know what I'm saying, never really be following what was going on. His bad person, his negative energy that came towards him towards that day when he wasn't even at home. He wasn't even in his state. He was on a visit with his other family. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, so back in 1955, Mr. Emmett Till went to the store with a couple of his cousins. He was, I believe, the youngest between the three cousins he was with at this local store, right? Hold on. Let me try to get this lighting right. So, my bad. Emmett Till was at the store with his cousins, like we all do up until this day. And, you know, back then in 1955 and 1940s, there was a bunch of crazy stuff going on with black folks and people. You feel me what I'm saying? So he was there for a visit, went to the store, and this lady accused him of whistling at her. That's what I heard in school. And I really do remember those type of events because of it was taught in the schools back then. And, you know, 1995, 96, 97, 98. Real stuff was being taught back then, but it's not being taught today because of this whole political thing. But y'all see what's going on with the canceling of CRT, banning books, all this other stuff, but they forcing you to do stuff that you don't want to do or they don't even make sense. Thus, it brings me to say what's going on with Miss Caroline Dunham. You know what I'm saying? So she basically accused Emmett Till, 14-year-old boy, of whistling at her, making, you know, adult advances towards this woman. And, you know, what was going on back then in 1955, for if they ain't wiped it off the internet yet, we know what was going on because you can easily look back what was going on back then. So for this lady to say this about this young black boy back then, they ain't play that mess, even if it was a lie. So to make the long story short, they end up doing what they did to black folks back in the day. Just read Black history, read, you know, certain things that happen in Louisiana, Tennessee, Texas, Florida, New York City, Detroit. You can go ahead and look at all those things. But Caroline Bryant has passed away maybe last night or 2 days ago, but I'm just hearing about it. And it's messed up that Emmett Till never got to see justice against his demiser because she's the reason why Emmett Till became this martyr for the civil rights. And the most effed up thing about it is, like I said in my other videos, previous videos, I am not a lawyer. I don't haven't went to attorney school, none of those type of things. But to just get you know where I'm coming from, because I feel sometimes the law don't coincide with what's the human right is. You feel what I'm saying? So for her to be able to sit here and have an arrest warrant that was exposed, I think it was last year or 2 years ago, roughly. It wasn't no more than 3 years. I can say that for sure. It was exposed that she had an open arrest warrant for her. Miss Caroline Bryant had an arrest warrant for her way back when. You feel what I'm saying? Back in 1955, 1966, wherever they decided to make this arrest warrant, but they hid that shit down in the basement of one of the courthouses. And then when they gave a reason why they didn't want to issue to go get her, really to execute the warrant, is because she had children. You know how many black women that has children and they don't give a F about that shit and they put them in jail? This is this type of shit I'm talking about. That was privilege all the way to the end, because this lady basically was an accessory, if not the mastermind of a demise of a child. So that's neglect. She shouldn't have had her kids that long. You feel what I'm saying? Talking about she's a mother. We shouldn't put her through the shit because she has children. You know what? What about that child? But still, they still to this day, when it was discovered 50, 60 years later that it was an arrest warrant that was literally hidden. So these officers and these sheriffs and whoever the prosecutors, these people probably dead by now. Let's just keep it real. You know what I'm saying? That shit happened 1955. You know what I'm saying? So what? 1955, 2005, that's 100 years, right? I could be wrong. I can't do math in my head. You know what I'm saying? But I can add on the calculator and a piece of paper. But you see, I don't have that right now. But just to sit here and let this lady live her life. And then when it was exposed that the warrant was active for her arrest, they said, oh, she's bedridden. We don't want to have to put her through that. Are you effing serious? But y'all always want to spew this law and order, this land of the effing free, and this land was made for justice between you and me. But this little boy, 14 years old, back in 1955, he wasn't even at home to begin with. He was on a trip, a family trip to go see his distant family. You know what I'm saying? And then have him to be able to come back home in a box. That reminds me of Shaquilla Robinson. So how is this type of things is steady happening, but y'all won't do nothing about it? So this sounds like a whole fucking RICO case to me. It sounds like a RICO case because it does. Racketeering, influence, corruption, organization amongst the land of the fucking free, and the founding fathers is accessory to the bullshit. And people that keep practicing this shit, hey, you can call it what you want, but it is what it is. And this is the bullshit that we have to go through today. This lady was able to live till she was 88 years old, take care of her kids, and her kids is still not even coming forward to tell what really fucking happened. Like, how did they think innocent? She said, we know what fucking happened, because that type of shit happened like that all the time. And back then, it was no laws to protect the minorities of the land of where we living at. Let's just keep it real. And you have to thank Black people and the activism that they did and the people that gave their lives literally from beyond this dimension on to prison. They gave their lives in some way, shape, or fashion for you to be here, because you weren't supposed to be here either. So y'all need to get this shit together, because this whole shit is a RICO case of its own. Dead ass. And they want to sit here and keep talking about, oh, law and order, but they're not doing nothing to eradicate the fucking crime. They're keeping it from happening. You're getting punished, but they're not ratifying the problem. So it's going to be a revolving door. People are still going to go to prison, and they're going to keep doing this shit until the people stand up and say, fuck this shit, fuck you, you work for me. Because how the hell the person you voted for got better dental care than they do, and you're the reason why they there? Make it make sense. But like I said, I am not a lawyer. I ain't been barred, never missed a bar, test or nothing. It's just common sense. I look at the laws, I read it, I understand it to the best of my ability, and sometimes the shit just don't make sense with the humility of what people need. So you can say what you want to say. Put your comments down below, and I'll holler at y'all later. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm.